G'day and welcome back for more Space Engineers Survival. Back to more tram designing and a very sensible idea that was pointed out to me in the comments. The Colt command consoles have a small ship variant. That means I could put one of these consoles with a seat and actually put a cockpit on these things, but I'm not gonna. I'm gonna use this one because I still want to be able to do this with the button control and standing. So let's pop that in here. Now there is a downside in doing this because we have our even number width. I really need to figure out an easier way to say that, but an even number of blocks across the width of this ship. This can't be perfectly centered and there's going to be an extra block to one side. So we'll place it there. Then what I thought we could do is grab our medium gray, and if we place a block there, and then a slopey one here, and one of these this way. Yeah, like that. And then do a similar thing just for those two blocks there. It'll kind of blend in with the grey of the command console, which I think will work nicely. This command console has 4 buttons across it, so we can have an increase speed, a decrease speed, and then something else for the other two, because I still want to use, and I got it off my hotbar, I still want to use the vanilla button panel up here, or here, or here, no, here, as our emergency stop. So I'm going to make that a red button. In fact, let's make it red now. So that'll be the big red button. Don't push the big red button. So that's kind of the idea of the control side of things in here. Oh, I should probably weld those blocks up that I can't get to before I cover them up. I don't really have any other standalone chairs. I don't think a toilet really counts. And so I think this is probably the best option. And if we go with a straight bench, I think we should be able to fit it in here. Probably line it up on this side, like so. And the nice part about this is that these benches are actually really easy to walk past, and we can still walk through from side to side, even with this bench here. And there is another nice little benefit. As you walk up on it, you get a little bit of extra height. And I think it looks nice looking through that front window with the bit of extra height. We are going to also need some lights. So let's get rid of these silly wheels that don't really look... Oh, well, they really look awful is probably the better way to say it. And instead of those, I'm going to put a pair of spotlights down here. Yeah, look at that. Turn off my... Oh, my lights are off. I reckon that's going to be nice. And yet another little thing I think will look... Well, will be interesting to do on this. Instead of using these half-slope edges for the kind of fence railings, I'm actually going to get rid of them because I want to put a little gate in here, and to have that gate, I'm going to use a piston. And if I left those blocks in there, it would end up looking a bit funny against the piston, I think. Yeah, if I sit a piston like this, it'll be able to push across and create a gate. But you can see, because of the rounded edges on the piston model, it'd look a bit funny if we had the corner edge attached to an edge that, if you look at the tip of the welder, doesn't really exist. So that's why we have to go with the full blocks. What I might do just to make it more interesting is make the cross bits white and just make the vertical bits grey. Oh yeah, that's another thing. Got to fix this little bit of a dodgy paint job I did on the ceiling. I'm just going to get ahead and weld all of these up, so then we can start setting up this piston. Okay, with it all welded up, let's just hop in. And now you can see what I'm going for. We'll be able to go faster, slower. It's Still can't think of another use for these two, but I'm sure we'll come up with something eventually. I suppose, actually, these two could probably get tied into controlling some switching or elevator apparatus at the other end. Now that I think about it, that could work quite well. Yeah. That'd definitely work all right. And if I needed some extra buttons, I can always put more vanilla buttons up around the roof. But I kind of do like having just this one big red button on there. I might put some LCDs up along the roofline as well later on. So put some text panels in and try and put some useful information up there from M Master's automatic LCDs or something similar to that. I'd really like to check, and I haven't done it yet, but I'm not sure if M Master's automatic LCDs can display the percentage of wheel override, or if there is a way, I'm going to have to look into it, because what I'd like to show is how much the wheels are on override, so that I know how much I'm accelerating and where I need to slow down to get to a stop without hitting the big red button. Okie dokie, so with those two named, our maximum distance should be just under 1.5 meters, because we got 3 small grid blocks, and each small grid block is 50 centimeters. So let's go to 1.45 and hope things don't explode. Let's hit reverse and let's see what happens. Tiniest of gaps. Perfect. Because I don't really want any pushing against our own grid. So if we then set our velocity to 1.5. So it'll take 1 whole second for it to move across. And now we're going to need a button to be able to push to open and close these. With these gates, I was thinking originally I'd have a button on the outside and put a button on the inside so that we can get in and out using the buttons. And the reason I was thinking buttons was we don't want this opening while we're riding the tram. We want it to be manually controlled in terms of getting out. But getting in, we definitely could have it automated with a sensor. And it might look nicer to have a sensor on the back of these pistons instead of having the cargo access point. And if we have a sensor there, we should be able to detect anything just around this area immediately about to get on the tram. And that'll mean we won't need to have a button on the outside, which will kind of look nicer. Having a button on the inside, I think, looks just fine. We could even put a button on top. No, I think we'll go with a button there on both sides. Yeah, I think that is going to look better. Alrighty, let's set up these sensors. Now, do I want it white? I think I might want it grey. You know what? I think I might want to make the whole top. Yeah. Yeah, I think that looks better than having it grey along the top. Have the rest of the fence grey, but have just the top bit white. I think that... Yeah, I actually think that improves it. Alright, back to the sensors. Now, always from the sensor's point of view... Oh, wait a second. These have the same limitations as large grid ones. Rats. I don't know why, but I had it in my head that they wouldn't. Oh, well, that's okay. That's okay. We can work with this. All right. Left extent, 1 meter. Right extent, 1 meter. Bottom extent, 1 meter. Top extent, 1 meter. Back extent. Let's make this 2. And then the rest of them 1. And it'll be just detect players. Set up actions. Tram piston. Now, the reason... No, it doesn't work. Nuts! I had in my head that I'd be able to just have it do an extend, but if I do that, it's always going to open. Suppose I could use the sensor to close the thing, so I don't have to close it manually. Yeah, let's do that. So on exiting the area, it will extend. So once we have our button in, so our button's set to retract. Aha. Let's do it from the inside. So we press our button, it's retracted, I walk through, and it'll extend. Yeah. Cool. Alright, the sensor has a use. We'll keep it. It's probably excessive, but knowing me, I would forget to close the gate. But that does mean we are going to need to have a button on the outside, and I suspect we'll just go with there. Or should I put it on the piston? Maybe I'll put it on the piston. Okay, so to get on, ta-da, walk on, and it's locked. To get off, yeah. Yeah, manual control to open, automatic to close. That makes the most sense. And that's definitely a safety feature. Cool. I mean, I can still do this. I don't think I can easily... Oh yeah, I can jump out relatively easily. I'm pretty happy with the tram shape and the detailing for the front. What we're going to need to do is duplicate this on the back. And again, another brilliant suggestion that I'm glad I came across in the comments, which was, why don't I shove a projector in the middle here and flip the projection around so that I can weld up the back from projection. And I am absolutely going to do that once I've finished setting this up, because I think that'll be such a neat way of getting all of this done really quickly. So thank you. That was a very, very nice suggestion. I probably don't need to set all that up just yet though. I do, however, need to get a power source on the tram, as there is not any at the moment. Oh, can I fit in here? Oh, this is a tight space. This could end very badly. Now, I think this space under the tram is the perfect space for some batteries. And I think transformer boxes are going to be the way to go here. I think the transformer boxes will probably do enough, because we can fit a good 8 at least underneath the tram. And I won't even need to put a connector on this tram, since I'll be able to recharge those transformer boxes from the batteries we pick up from the solar axe. Or if I set up the battery loading mechanism the way I'm planning, it can be hooked up via that instead of via a connector. So let's weld up a few of these, and then let's get to testing the control scheme, because setting up these wheels is a little bit fiddly. I did some testing in creative, and there's some unusual and unexpected behaviors. Okay, I feel like this place is pretty well done, although it could use maybe... Oh! Of course. I don't think I can ever start a sentence describing what I'm planning on doing without at least not having one of the things I need. So I reckon following the arch entryways with these will look nice. Alright, we've got battery power, so we should... I might leave that cockpit on there temporarily. We should be able to disconnect from the base. So let's do it. And hope that I didn't muss something up. So, if we're in the cockpit, everything should just work. Yeah, look at that. We are driving our new tram. Now we have to set up these wheels so that they will work with override. Now you might think, yeah, that's going to be easy because they're already all set up. Sadly, no. No, it's not going to be that easy. Let's hop in here and let's set up the buttons. So right now we get our drive from, oh, we want groups. Our lower horizontal and our upper horizontal wheels. So we're going to need to go into the menu. Let's do it in here. So these will become our tram drive wheels. So now we should be able to go in here, go groups, go tram drive wheels, and do increase, where is it? Increase propulsion override and decrease propulsion override. And it's that simple. Or in theory, it should be that simple. It's not. It's really not that simple. I don't think we need anything else from that menu. So now you'd think, all right, if I hit one of these buttons, I'm going to go forward, and with one of the other button, I'm going to go backwards. I think I'm going to try and make it so that this one should make us go forward. But I pressed that a whole bunch, and bubkus. We may see the wheels doing some strange things under here. Yeah, jiggling a little bit, trying to move, but they can't. And that's because I think about half of them are going the wrong way. And we can prove that the override... Oh, there you go, the jiggly one's up the top. We can prove that these are on override. We're going down here, propulsion override, 100%. So let's turn that off. And now, let's do this wheel by wheel. What we want with the current setup in the cockpit is for a positive propulsion override to push the tram toward the solar axe, and a negative can push it away. When we set up the controls on this end, we'll set up the left so it's going forward from the perspective of the cockpit. The left control and the right control to be slow down. So it kind of makes sense at both ends. We have our suspension right. Let's go down to, and I hope you guys can actually see this, propulsion override. Let's increase that to 1. And that looks like it's pushing us in the right direction. That's definitely spinning, trying to get us up the hill. So this one is okay. We don't need to touch it. Let's check out our left wheel. Propulsion override. And it is definitely trying to push us the wrong way. So let's turn that off. Let's go to our invert propulsion, which is currently on, and let's turn it off. Oddly, our forward control in our cockpit does not always match our forward on propulsion override. So propulsion override now pushes us in the correct direction. And I think every single left one is going to need to have the invert propulsion on or off. Let's try turning this one off. Oh, wait a second. I wonder if it's my invert propulsions that are the problem. And if I didn't have them at all, if all of these would be fine. No, wait. Because this one's got invert propulsion on, doesn't it? Yeah. Okay, never mind. I think it's the lefts. I think the lefts for some reason. So if you use a left wheel, it goes the opposite to what you might expect, or the opposite to the right wheel. So let's go with propulsion override. Well, that is very unhelpful. How am I going to go? If I can't see it's moving, I'm not quite sure how I'm going to do this. I wonder if I'll be able to see them spin if I turn their friction off. Because I really do need to see these spin so that I can figure out which way I should have them. So let's go propulsion override. Okay, that's definitely pushing backwards. Yeah, there we go. You can kind of get a hint that it's trying to go with the eye of faith. I think you could say that. All right, so let's go and turn invert propulsion on. Interesting. So for the roof ones, the left wheels need to be not inverted, i.e. the upside down left wheels need to be not inverted, but the correctly oriented left wheels do need to be inverted. So it's definitely something about left and right wheels. Or it seems to be anyway. Based on what I just had to set up with this, if you're going to use propulsion overrides, remember that the lefts behave opposite to the right wheels. So if you make your whole vehicle with right wheels or your whole vehicle with left wheels, you should be fine. Weirdly. Oh! Oh! Splitsie, you dope. I think I get it now. So the propulsion override is relative to the position of the suspension. So any suspension so the direction of the suspension is going to control the direction of the override. So let's do this with a thing on my hotbar to show it more clearly. So if we have our suspension facing us like this, then override in a positive direction is going to turn... Hang on, we can work this out. Okay, I think I have finally gotten my head around exactly what's going on with this suspension. So the way the override seems to work, and I hope I've got this right now, is when we're looking at our suspension like this, a positive override will turn the wheel clockwise. A negative override will turn it anti-clockwise. That means that a wheel on the opposite side of your vehicle needs to have the inverse settings to the ones on the contralateral side. So you've got clockwise for this side and anti-clockwise for that way. That way they'll be turning to generate force in the same direction. I think that's how it works, and I don't think it matters whether it's left or right. I think I'm only noticing the left and right because of the way that I've used lefts and rights on this vehicle. I don't think it's got anything to do with that. I think it's the same regardless of the suspension name, and it's all about being clockwise as you look onto the wheel suspension being the positive suspension override. Yeah, I hope that made sense. Because I know there's at least one person who I've been talking with who's been having some troubles with working this out, and I think that could be our solution. Let's find out. We have no friction on our wheels. Let's fix that first. Friction. I'm also going to drastically drop the speed limit because I'm not going to be able to easily control that. Now, let's find a calculator. Because I can't work out what, let's say 15 meters per second is in kilometers per hour. So we'll go slightly faster than 15. Let's set it at 60. I think that's reasonable speeds for an industrial tram. And let's give this a go. Oh, we're moving. Yes. Oh yes. We can walk around. We can look out the side. And it's working! Yes! It's glorious. Oh man. Now to get this button to work, I'm going to need to fit a... Oh, we might need a bit more power. I'm going to need to fit a remote control because that's what I'm going to hide. I could use the cockpit temporarily, and let's do that. So if we set up this button, and if we drag a cockpit or a control station or a remote control onto our hotbar, we can do handbrake on and off. You can also do dampeners on and off and a few other useful controls by doing things this way. So we'll do handbrake on and off. That way, if anything's going not so well, I can just hit the big red button. And I love having a big red button. You might have guessed by the number of times I've said big red button. This is exactly what I wanted. Ha 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 ha. Walking around on a moving vehicle that no one else is controlling, and I can control with buttons. I could even turn off my HUD, and once I get M-Master's automatic LCDs up here, we'll have all the info we need with no HUD, and we're not locked in the grid. Yes. I'm so happy. I can't believe this actually worked. Oh. Yay. Alright, let's turn around. Now, there was a suggestion for a vanilla option Oh, we are going really fast. Are we? No, we're not going that fast. There was a suggestion for a vanilla option for doing some... Ooh, I'm standing on the fence. That is not good. There was a suggestion for a vanilla option for doing some extra details in the cabin, and I am going to enable it or enact it. The suggestion was to put some programmable blocks in as like little computer consoles that I can access, and since I am going to need to run a couple of scripts on this tram, they're also functional. So what I'm thinking is we'll have one for automatic LCDs, we'll have one for the transmit receive script. Ooh, which reminds me, I need to fit an antenna on this thing so that I can broadcast out and control stuff. Now we're going to have to... Oh, this is going to be sketchy. This is going to be difficult. I do not want to slam into that thing. Although we're going very slowly now. Let's keep going a little bit further, and stop. Oh dear. I don't think my big red button worked. At least it didn't break anything. That was lucky. Oh, look at that. I even managed to guess where I was at with my propulsion override. Awesome. How long does this reckon we've got in terms of battery power? 3 hours. What if we turn the lights off? 3 hours. Okay. I've left a bit of room at the back here, which is convenient, although I do have room along the side, so I wouldn't necessarily need it. But I think I'll use it anyway. So I can use that space to place our remote control block and our antenna. So with our remote control block for this, it doesn't really matter which way it's facing since we're not actually going to be controlling with it, but I thought I'd at least align it with one direction of travel to make things a little more logical. And with that and the antenna placed, we can now pop a projector on here and project the back half of the tram. Oh, drifting pursuant's coming in. All right. I was hoping to save this until later, but I was fiddling with the chicken hawks, and I might have made them a little bit more, well, potentially a bit more effective when I'm actually dogfighting. I added a turret to the top. I pretty much didn't change anything else. All I've done was add a turret. Like so. See? Basically the same thing, just with a turret stuck on top and an extra couple of conveyor blocks in front. This should allow me to fly with a bit more freedom and still score hits on the enemy ships. So let's unlock this. Toggle block off. Let's control our chicken hawk. Now, annoyingly... Oops. I think I was just hitting the... Oh dear, hang on a second. Have I just done something really bad? Oh, I did hit the turret, but I didn't damage it. Good. Terminal. Doors. I haven't gotten the doors to work properly yet. Still not sure what I've done wrong, but I'm sure there's something I've done wrong, since the door opener's working with everything else. But we will fix that eventually. For now, it is time to take on a drifting pursuant with an extra gun on board. So what I should be able to do if I wanted to with this setup is actually do some high-speed strafing runs and hopefully still score some hits. I would have to duck and weave pretty aggressively to pull that off. So I'm kind of inclined to still try and do the kiting maneuvers. But the turret's going to be really, really helpful if I get distracted and I'm not paying attention and another ship comes in range, as the rat-a-tat-tat of the turret will alert me that something is up, something is nearby, something needs to get my attention. Okay. A few people might have pointed out last time that maybe the kamikaze pursuant was more a kamikaze me into the pursuant. Oh no, it's shooting back. Okay. Let's turn you off. Let's see if we can take you down. Come on, hit that thruster, hit that thruster. Oh yeah, down she goes. You're well and truly out of action, aren't you? Oh yep. Nothing useful left in you. Next target. You know what? Let's see how we do. Are we going to see much if I do a strafing run? I don't think we are. It's probably not the best idea. I think we'll just use the turret as extra firepower in case my aim is awful. Or should I say, because my aim is awful. Reverse, 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 reverse. Taking fire, taking fire, taking fire, taking hits. Okay, got it down. I have lost a turret. I mean, I've lost a cannon. Oh, do not let that under turret get in range. Okay, you should be going down now. Oops. It's really hard to keep my mouse on target with the way the gyros work. Let's see how much damage we actually did just take. We have a camera. Oh, the docking camera's out. We have a Gatling cannon out. Our connector's still functional. That's good. All right, we're not too bad. But we have definitely taken some damage. I think it would be good to return. We should just be able to fly by the welder wall and get fixed up. So not an entirely successful run, but not too bad. At least the chicken hawk is intact this time. After I get this drone back to base and repaired on our welder wall, I'm going to start work on the tram battery loading and unloading system. And there are a couple of little things that we're going to have to work on in order to get that to be set up correctly, because I didn't plan it out properly at the beginning. Big surprise. So, there's that. And for the coming weeks, we're going to have some shorter videos than usual, but as soon as I'm able to, i.e. when I'm not traveling, I'm going to get back to the normal length. So there's all that and plenty more to come, and I will see you then.